Hi, this is Dr. Kelly Miller. Today I want to talk to you about the 6 essentials to health and wellness. Before we get going with this, I just want to give a little due to one of my mentors 30 years ago, Ted Morter, who came up with the 6 essentials to life. So some of this information comes from Dr. Morter, and the rest has come from information I've gathered the last 30 years in my own practice. But when we talk about the 6 essentials to health and wellness, we want to talk about those are the following 6 things. What you eat, what you drink, how you rest, how you exercise, what and how you breathe, and what you think. The first thing I want to talk about a little bit about how we think about our health. Let's talk about a little bit about how we think about our health in this country.
Let's change framing so he can edit between those two.
Okay.
Okay. Stand by. Ever so slightly. But no, we're okay. And action.
So I just want to talk a little bit about how we perceive our health and wellness in this country. And the analogy I'd like to use is using the fire department versus a maintenance and repair department. And about 90% of our health care costs occur in the last 30 or 60 days of life. So we're not really doing a great job of in the wellness and repair. We spend a lot of time on putting out fires, and medicine is absolutely miraculous at some of the things that happen. We can actually have our arteries closed down. They can open them up with a balloon, put a stent in, and save our lives. We can cut off a limb, and they can actually reattach the nerves, the tendons, and have a functional extremity again. So there are incredibly wonderful things that happen in medicine, but what doesn't work real well in medicine is taking medication for long periods of time for chronic health problems. And when you have a fire, when you have an inflammation, when you've got an injury, you've got a trauma, you've got to get the fire department in there and put the fire out. But after the fire is put out, you've got to come in and do the repair and then the maintenance. And we all know we do preventative maintenance on our cars. We change the tires, we change the oil, things like that. But very few of us think about preventative care for our health. So, the analogy I use many times with using the long-term medication is like having the fire department come down every day and hose down your house to prevent a fire. It actually may prevent the fire. The problem is if you keep doing that, you're likely to develop an electrical problem because the water is going to get into the electricity, or you're going to get some dry rot, or it's going to break down, or you're going to get some fungus or some mold or something. So that approach creates side effects. So I want to talk a little bit about approaching our health a little differently. One of the things I want to talk about also is what commercials are telling us versus the facts. We're led to believe, if we take drugs like Bonita, Fosamax, that that will significantly reduce our risk for fracture. Well, the reality is that only 1 in 100 people benefit. We're told that on these commercials that if we take this certain statin drug, that it reduces our risk for a heart attack or stroke by 35%. Let me tell you what that study really said. What it said is, after studying following people taking medication, one group taking it for 3 years, another group taking it or not taking the medication for 3 years, there was 2.3 people had a heart attack or stroke in the medicated group, and 3.3 had one in the unmedicated group. So really what that number is 1 in 100. What they did is they divided the 3 into 2, and that's where they got the 30%. So a little bit of deception on the math there. Actually, only 1 in 100 people benefit that. Aspirin is another thing that's recommended as a preventative thing all the time. And actually 50% of the people who take aspirin will actually increase their risk for heart attack or stroke because of their clotting factors that are unique for that individual. So here's some other thing about Fosamax. It has a drug half-life of 10 years. So basically, if you take this medication and besides it, and it doesn't agree with you, you're kind of SOL because the system, it's not going to get out of your system for 20 years. Some of the side effects for statin drugs are Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, congestive heart failure, myopathy, neuropathy. So what we need to understand is that our genetic, our DNA is 99.9% unchanged for the last 40 or 50,000 years. You know, basically we're designed to be hunter and gatherers, and our food sources were such as living off the land. And the tendencies for us to develop some of these chronic illnesses are based on genetic patterns and ways of eating from 40, 50,000 years ago that we're not eating as our DNA is designed. So we're eating, you know, there are thousands and thousands of chemicals that weren't even in existence 100 years ago. And they're loaded in our food sources and we're eating. So let's look at some general terms. Now, these are very general terms about eating patterns because there is a difference between your gene pattern and your blood type and different factors about what we should eat. But generally, you know, we should be eating grass-fed chicken, turkey, fresh fish, eggs, beef, venison, buffalo. Probably 20%, 25%. Vegetables, probably 50%. Some of our superfoods that we really need to get in for health prevention: beets, cruciferous vegetables, greens, sweet potatoes. We should be eating seasonal fruit, probably 20-25% of our diet. Apples, peaches, pears, blueberries, strawberries. Other foods, nuts and seeds, especially almonds, Brazil nuts, walnuts, very good source of protein. Almonds and Brazil nuts are very alkaline as well, which is an advantage. You know, dairy, we should, small amounts of dairy. I'm not a proponent anymore of drinking a lot of milk, even though I loved milk as a child, and I drank a lot of milk till I was 21. But the milk today is not the same milk as it was before. And it's loaded with drugs, it's loaded with growth hormones, antibiotics, a lot of things that are filtering down that if a mother was nursing her human child, there's no way that she would be having those kind of medications while she was breastfeeding. So that's filtering down. So dairy form, and there's a lot of people that don't digest casein. So dairy is better in the form of sour cream, cottage cheese, yogurt, goat cheese. Goat cheese actually has a different form of casein, which is more easily broken down. Grains, small amount of grains, probably 5 or 10%. I have to talk about, at this point, gluten. You know, we're actually engineering changing our seeds. So wheat now has twice the gluten content that it had before. You're just seeing epidemics of problem with gluten. People have a problem with gluten anyway, but there's just such more gluten now in our environment that it's really creating problems. You know, some other better grains: brown rice, millet, quinoa, chia. You know, think about these. These are a lot of grains we don't even think about. Oils: butter, coconut, olive. If we're cooking, we want to use with coconut or palm oil. So here's the top 3 allergens in the American population: gluten, casein, and soy. So if you look at gluten, which is in you know, most wheat products, you know, it's hard not to, you know, we're definitely consuming a lot of gluten every day, a lot of casein in milk. Again, this is very common to cause chronic health problems in a lot of people. It's estimated as much as 80% of the population has an allergen to one or two of these things, either gluten or casein. So we think about our meals. you know, really when I was a child in grade school, I remember the meals, and we used to have a little piece of some kind of protein, chicken or beef or something about like that big. We had usually 2 vegetable portions, and usually had the little four section plate, and then we had some kind of starch on the other one. You know, in those meals, and when I look back on us, we didn't have too many fat kids back then. We were all pretty slender. So we need to kind of think about eating that way again, and in proportion. When we think about what we drink, you know, our body is 90% water. We definitely, the minimum thing you need to do is at least get a carbon filter for your water. You can get a Brita water filter at the grocery store. You can get one that's in a pitcher. You can put one on your tap. A better way to go would be reverse osmosis, a little more expensive, maybe $250, $300. That would be put into your water source at your home. You could also do distilled water. It's a little more inconvenient, but the reverse osmosis distilled water gives you a very high quality pure water. And we should be drinking primarily this 90% water. You have some green tea, coffee, tea juices, you know, almond coconut milk, red wine, but again, predominantly water. So, you know, how you rest is absolutely essential to your health and wellness. You know, studies indicate that how long you sleep at night can influence our longevity as much as 10 years. And really the ideal is about 7 to 8 hours, give or take 30 minutes. There's lots of different studies, but definitely if you're under 6 hours or you're over 9 hours, that can make a difference in 10 years in your longevity. And other studies indicate that it's very important to sleep at least 5 hours uninterrupted to really achieve optimal rest. You know, it's important to have a very dark environment to produce adequate melatonin. Melatonin is our nighttime hormone that helps regulate lots of different things. Lack of sleep has been linked to many chronic degenerative diseases, including type 2 diabetes. As I said, melatonin is your nighttime independent hormone regulator. Vitamin D is your daytime independent hormone regulator. Melatonin is a very interesting substance. There's a lot of research that suggests that melatonin may be one of the most powerful antioxidants in existence. Has never, ever been found a toxicity factor with melatonin. It's my understanding when there was a lot of radiation concerns in Japan recently, when one of the reactors was flooded, that they were using large amounts of melatonin to try to prevent the negative effects of radiation there. Melatonin and vitamin D both work with and control cellular death. You know, every cell we have is designed to die. Skin cell, 120 days. Red blood cell, 120 days. Heart cell, 30 days. So it actually facilitates the death of each cell, which is important. And it also prevents our DNA from unwinding and spiraling, and which is one of the things that is considered to cause cancer. So vitamin D, melatonin levels, very important for anti-cancer. One of the things also to help you rest better is to avoid blue light after the sun goes down. So if a lot of these people are on the computer, you're getting this blue light, it creates some problems and creates a problem with you going to sleep. The closer we can rise and rest with the sun, the more in tune we're going to be to our own internal biological clock. So our next essential is exercise, like the Nike commercial. You know, what kind of exercise? Just do it. Exercise is generally better earlier in the day versus in the day. You know, optimal time would probably be 11 to 1 because that's when most of our energy is in our heart. So how you exercise can be important. Different types of exercises are more beneficial for different types of people. Generally speaking, we would want to get at least 45 minutes 3 times a week. 5 to 6 days is better. You know, we can do weight resistant training, we can do jogging, we can do elliptical, we can do yoga, we can do Pilates, we can do a lot of different things. If we're trying to burn fat, what we want to do is try to maintain your heart rate is about 60% of your capacity. So, you know, a good question is, well, what's my capacity? There's a formula for that, and what you do is you take the number 220 and you subtract your age. And that whatever number that is then you take 60%. So let me give you an example. So I'm 56 years old. So I take 220, subtract 56, and it equals 164. I take 164 and I multiply it by 0.6, and it equals 98.4. So if I want to burn fat, what I want to do is get my heart rate up to around 100 and maintain it for 45 minutes, and that is ideal for burning fat. Generally speaking, O blood types tend to like to grunt and groan, and I'm a O blood type, so I like weights. I like things that make me sweat. And A blood types might be better with something like yoga or Tai Chi, stretching exercises, something a little less high impact. There's a great book related to makes me think of this right now. It's called Ageless Body, Timeless Mind by Deepak Chopra. So this is just, keep going.
I'm going to loosen my shot, change my shot just a little bit so you can make a jump at it if he needs to. Stand by.
Okay, so
Sorry, excuse me.
our next essential,
Wait. Okay, and whenever you're ready.
okay,
Action.
so our next essential to health and wellness is what or how we breathe. So let's think about our breathing. How important is it? We can live 40 plus days without food. We can live 3 plus days without water. We can only live about 3 minutes without breathing. So breathing is the beginning and ending of independent life. In Eastern Indian Ayurvedic medicine, the breath is called prana. So let's everybody, if you're watching this in our waiting room or you're watching this on our website, what I want you to do is take your flat of your hand, the palm of your hand, I want you to place it on your upper abdomen. And I want you to take in a deep breath. And I want you to observe your hand. Does your hand move away from your body or towards your body? Our diaphragm is a pump. Your lungs are a balloon. So when we take in a breath, our hand should move away. So you're filling the balloon. If your hand does not move away, you're probably in a fear or anxiety mode. Fight-flight syndrome. So here's a little exercise to try to, work on our breathing and breathe properly. We want to take a nice, long, deep breath through our nose. You want to slowly exhale slowly through our mouth. Okay, so again, we're going to take a long, deep breath through our nose. Our hands should be expanding away from us. Hands should be moving away, but we're going to exhale slowly through our mouth. We want to physically lower our shoulders. Okay, so let's do that. Let's breathe in. Wow. Feel that difference? What happened? Your physiology changed. Your muscles relax, your gut relaxed, your mind cleared. Now you're in control, okay? Now you're not reacting externally to a stressor. So here's another breathing exercise, a little more advanced. So I want you to get very comfortably, get a nice comfortable chair. I want you to close your eyes. And as you breathe, I want you to visualize your breath coming from your posterior. There you're sitting, near your sacrum. So as you're bringing in, this breath is coming in over the top of your body, over the front. You're bringing it in through your nose. It's coming in through your lungs. And this breath continues to move down behind your navel. Okay? So get very comfortable, close your eyes. Let's breathe. So just kind of I always visualize my breath like one of those, where you see the little misters, you can see this little cloud. My breath coming in, over the top of me, coming in, over front of my eyes and my nose, filling my lungs, coming down to my midpoint behind my navel. Okay, so I'm feeling a very nice, warm, relaxed feeling there. Okay, so that's something you work on your visualization, be very relaxed. Sometimes just put your hands on your thighs. So, your breath is warming your center point. Your sacrum is also called your sacred place. It's a respiratory point. So it must be moving. So one of the things we want to do, why exercise is important, because we want to get off our sacrum. So we need to get off our behinds and move it often. So the next topic I want to talk about is, what we think. Hang on a second there. Because we forgot to get headers for some of these. That's okay. We're fine. We're okay. We're just going from one subject to the other, and we're not going to the...
Sorry. Let me tighten up on you here.
Okay.
I think that was where I tried to help Brian. That's where I messed up. And ready.
Okay. So the last essential to health and wellness I want to talk about is, what we think. What we think is absolutely the most important thing we need to work on of the 6 essentials, because what we think dictates our habits, our patterns, our thinking, and our lifestyle. So if we get our thinking right, then we're going to adapt better choices, make better choices in what we eat, what we drink, how we rest, and how we exercise. Did you know that 99% of what you think or worry about today, you thought about yesterday? Think about that, okay? So all those things you worried about yesterday didn't come about, and here you're thinking about them again. Okay? Doesn't make sense. Did you know that your body's chemistry or physiology doesn't know the difference between what is actually happening in real life and real time and what you imagine happening? So, in other words, the thoughts and pictures you put in your head are no different than you actually seeing that happening to you. So we need to be very conscious about what kind of images and thoughts we put between our ears. Did you know that we don't even know how to worry until we're about age 3? It's about age 3 that we can learn to worry. And how sad it is to think that a 3-year-old even has to worry about anything. Our brain is the ultimate computer recording. Whoa, stop that. Your brain is the ultimate computer. That's a typo there. Is it ultimate? Ultimate computer. Recording. Ultimate computer recording program stimulus responses. Yes. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Now I'm with it. Our brains are the ultimate computer, constantly recording program stimulus responses. The problem is our brain has been programmed, and it's been programmed with a virus. So it's time to load a new and better program and reboot. As I said before, 99% of what we worry about yesterday does not even ever happen, yet we worry about it today. We're not born to worry, we were taught. We learned to worry. Corrective actions for this. We must consciously give ourselves positive pep talks in the form of positive affirmations. I am are the 2 most powerful words in language. You must never say the words I am followed by a negative adjective. The only exception to that would be when we've inadvertently hurt a person for what we've said or done, and you say, I'm sorry. I am able. I am capable. I am decisive. I am enthusiastic. I am affluent. I am a teacher. I am a great decision maker. I am a problem solver. These are all things that we need to think about and talk to ourselves and program. A great time to do this is to do this before you go to sleep at night. Make a list of the person, the things, the traits that you would like to have, and that what you want to work on, and write them down and work on those and make those positive affirmations. Have your subconscious working for you positively at night. Don't go to bed watching some doom and gloom news show about something negative. Do something positive for yourself when you're in there. You've got to get past the negative experiences in your life. You've got to forgive yourself and you've got to forgive others. Here's a great affirmation. I give absolute love and forgiveness to whomever for anything they said or did that hurt me or made me feel bad. The more powerful you can, not only saying that, but having an emotion behind it. Emotion is everything. The words are empty without emotion. I give absolute forgiveness to me for anything I said or did wrong in my relationship with whomever. Again, those things will let that negativity go. Are we done?
That's all I had, yeah.
Okay. So let me just have a little lap wrap.
Okay, stand by. Let me get tighter shot for the wrap up here. And action.
So again, just to recapping the 6 essentials to our health and wellness. What we eat. More whole foods. Animal protein in smaller amounts. More vegetables. More fruits. Nuts, seeds. Alternative grains than we're normally eating right now. And we mentioned the quinoa is a great grain. What we drink. More pure water. Get a carbon filter, reverse osmosis, or distilled better. Rest. Get in a comfortable bed. Get in a dark environment. Get your 7 to 8 hours. How we exercise. Again, let's make time for ourselves. 45 minutes, at least 3 times a week. 5 or 6 is better. Again, nice deep breathing. Expanding in and out. And most importantly, what you think. Do your affirmations every night. Thank you.